are now listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
Hello, IELTS students. In this tutorial, we're going to look at using a variety of complex and simple sentences. Now, we are doing this podcast because this is one of the errors you might see when you are using our automatic essay checking tool. That's available at essaycheck.IELTSPodcast.com/draft. Now, when you use this tool, you're going to get a free band score evaluation of the essay that you submitted. You paste your question, you paste your essay, and then you get your band score evaluation for each criteria: for task response, for lexical resource, for cohesion and coherence, and for grammatical range and accuracy. And I'm telling you this because the developer wants to limit the features. So what does that mean? Well, possibly in April or May, we will be restricting it, and instead of getting the criteria for instead of getting your band score for all 4 criteria, you'll probably get 2 and you'll have to pay for the upgrade. However, if you're using it during March, you will probably still be able to get all 4 criteria. Now, when you do use it, you might get this error. Use a variety of complex and simple sentences. And this is exactly what I'm going to try and explain for you today in today's tutorial. Before we get started though, let me just tell you who I am. My name is Ben Worthington, and I left England a long time ago and I landed in Spain. I was studying there for a year, so I've learned a foreign language. I know the struggle, and I fell into English teaching eventually. I graduated and I fell into English teaching, and I was teaching kids, teenagers, students, business students, anyone and everyone. I was one of those happy-go-lucky tutors. And after a while, after about a year, I was like, this isn't for me. I need to specialize. So I decided to specialize in the IELTS exam, because this is where I could really measure results, if what I was teaching was actually effective or not, which is really important for me. Results. I'm a results-driven person. And this led me to create IELTS Podcast, where I was interviewing, and I still do, interview ex-IELTS examiners, pronunciation professionals, grammar experts, linguistics, and I get advice from them. And if it works, I use it in my online courses. And this is what led me, one of the things that led me to setting up this tool, because with the advances of linguistics and algorithms and artificial intelligence, we can now offer a very accurate tool to help you get feedback faster. So when you are feeling motivated, and you get that sort of like wind of enthusiasm, you're like, right, I'm going to pass IELTS, I'm going to study all weekend. With this tool, you will be able to. You don't have to wait for feedback. You can just keep on working and tinkering with your essay until you get that band score that you desire. And as I was saying, one of the points that you might get when you're using this tool is to use a variety of complex and simple sentences. If you're aiming for a band 7 or higher, you definitely need to include this in your essay, specifically your task 2 essay. So let's have a look at the basics. In English, we've got 3 types of sentences: simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence. Simple one just has 1 clause. Very straightforward. A compound sentence has 1 or more main clause, and usually you'll use these, and usually you'll have a variety of these structures in your writing. And now a complex sentence has 1 main clause and 1 or more subordinate dependent clause. If you're going for a band 7 or higher, ideally you're using all 3. Some students think that they're not going to make any grammar mistakes if they just write with simple sentences. However, your essay can sound kind of like staccato and choppy if we just use short sentences. It probably will be grammatically sound, but it's just not going to sound like a native English speaker wrote it. Other students go to the other extreme, and they pack their sentences they pack their essay with incredibly long sentences, which is also quite risky, and it's futile if you're aiming for a band 7, because the longer the sentence is, the higher the chance of a grammatical mistake. So what you need is a mixture of simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. When you get a variety in there, you're much more likely to score a band 7 or higher. Now, as I just said, writing those slightly more complex ones can be a little risky, especially if they go on and on. This is why if you've got a framework to follow where you're just dropping in your ideas, it becomes a lot safer. I'll tell you more about those in a second. So let's have a look at a simple sentence. Copyright laws are necessary for society. It has one clause in that sentence. Okay? Copyright laws are necessary for society. Full stop. It's straight. So as I was saying, short sentences do have a purpose. They introduce a little bit of variety, and they're usually a little bit more punchy. However, as I said before, if you've got a full essay full of short sentences, it's incredibly basic and it's just boring to read as well. Now, here's a sentence with two independent main clauses which have been joined by a co-coordinating conjunction. Copyright laws are necessary for society as they provide rewards and protection to original artwork creators. The co-coordinating conjunction there was as. So there we've got it. Two independent main clauses. Both of those parts of those sentences are standalone, simple sentences on their own. We put them together with the co-coordinating conjunction, and now we have a compound sentence. Complex sentence. Because they provide rewards and protection, copyright laws are necessary for society. We've got two clauses there. We've got the main clause, copyright laws are necessary for society, and the subordinate one, because they provide order and reward. We cannot have the subordinate clause on its own. It's subordinate to the main clause. Okay? So this is called a complex sentence. We're going to look at some more ways now to improve our variety of sentences, and we're also going to look at other ways to transform a simple sentence into a complex or compound sentence. So we can use conjunctions. These conjunctions join two parts of a sentence or separate phrases together. Co-coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or, yet, and so are used to join two parts of a sentence that are grammatically equal. Okay, this part is important and I'll come back to it in a second. Okay, so most intermediate students are comfortable using these co-coordinating conjunctions. Okay, for example, traditional schooling is out of date. There should be educational alternatives. There we've got two short sentences, two simple sentences. Join them together with the co-coordinating conjunction. Traditional schooling is out of date and there should be educational alternatives. Quite straightforward. You probably learnt this in English class when you weren't even thinking about IELTS. You were just learning English. Moving on, subordinating conjunctions can be a little bit more challenged. They're used to join a subordinate or dependent clause to a main or independent clause. Okay, so they kind of like show some order in there. For example, communication between family members is less nowadays, even though, that's the subordinating conjunction, even though we have more technological advances. Can you see there? We have our independent clause at the beginning, then we have the subordinating conjunction, and then we have the dependent clause. As you could probably tell, the dependent clause is dependent on what was said either earlier or is dependent on other parts of the sentence. Okay? Communication between family members is less nowadays, even though we have more technological advances as well. And just as a side note, with even though we have a comma just before starting it. Okay? So another way that we can make our sentence a little bit more complex, okay, or introduce the variety aspect, is to change the part of the speech used. Okay? So, as you know, there are 9 main parts of speech in the English language. We've got nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, and articles. Lovely articles. Who doesn't love articles? The function of an individual word and the word class it belongs to depends on where it is positioned in a sentence and its relationship to the other words. So, as you know, in general, sentences in English follow a standard pattern: subject, verb, object. This is the clearest form for an English speaker to speak in and to be understood and to understand. Subject, verb, object. At the moment, with one of my private students, we are focusing on this exact structure for when she starts her part 2 speech, because she had the habit of mincing it all together in a really long and wordy way that just didn't display that much confidence. But when we reflected the answer and we used the similar structure given to us, which was very often subject, verb, object, when we started off with that, it became instantly clear, without strain, what she was going to talk about. So it's a very important one, subject, verb, object. However, when we change this pattern, especially in writing, for example, if we use the passive structure, it helps us with sentence varieties we were talking about earlier. For example, we could say from 1990 to 1998, UK car sales fluctuated slightly. Here we've got verb plus the adverb. Another way we could say this was from 1990 to 1998, there was a slight fluctuation in UK car sales. Now we've got the adjective plus the noun. And so it's just changing the word order can increase our grammatical range and accuracy. Now, another way to help you boost the variety or your variety of sentences, especially for IELTS, is to use C2 level vocabulary, okay, or C2 level sort of structures, adjectives. What does this mean? Well, IELTS is co-owned by Cambridge English Language, okay, same organization behind Cambridge University. And Cambridge English Assessment, or Cambridge Languages, also helped develop the Common European Framework of Reference, the CEFR. And this is the C2 level, C1, B2, B1, A2, and A1. A1 is beginner and C2 is expert. C2 equates to band 8, band 9. C1 equates to around 7 or 7.5. So what I'm saying is that the Cambridge English Language Association, or Cambridge University, they helped develop the IELTS exam and they helped develop the CEFR, and they also have a dictionary online, Cambridge English Dictionary, and next to the words they put the level. So they're basically saying, like, this word is a C2 level, which you can expect from higher level users. And you could also interpret this as this word is C2 or this word is band 9. You see? And I have been in this dictionary a lot looking for these band 9 words. Okay? And looking how I can integrate them into the sentence guide, into the framework. So what I'm going to do with you is just share a few phrases that are quite easy to integrate into the next essay you write to help you increase, the variety of sentences that you're going to be using. So we can say debate. Okay? Debate is a C2 level verb. If you go to Cambridge Dictionary, you will see it there. And how could we use debate in our essay? It's quite straightforward, I think. We could say, imagine we've got an essay about climate change. We could say scientists have debated the impact of pollution over the last few decades. You see? If we get an essay about crime, how could we use debate? Well, we could say politicians and law enforcers have debated the judicial system, have debated whether punishment is better than reformation or rehabilitation over the last few decades. You see? And when you join our course, you get access to these C2 templates where you basically just have to drop in your idea or drop in your vocabulary. Is it politicians? Is it scientists? Law enforcers? It doesn't really matter. Okay? Other C2 phrases we could use. The case for. Now, if we use case as a noun in this sentence, it's C2 level. The case for regulating the crypto industry has grown over the last few decades. The case for restricting prisons in the United States has grown in importance. The case for environmental regulations has only grown in importance as the amount of freak weather conditions increases, and so on and so forth. Yeah? What's the next sentence? Well, we could say there is ample evidence for such regulations due to the increased amount of earthquakes seen in the last 10 years. Okay? Ample evidence is another C2 level phrase we can very easily introduce into our essay to help us get a higher score. Now, when you join our course, you get all of these C2 level adjectives, nouns, phrases, and I have combed this dictionary looking for these kind of like almost universal these universal words and structures we can put into an essay. And then you just need to put in your idea. And we've also, as you probably know, we've got a whole module about getting ideas and how to do it and how to do it consistently. It's probably a lot easier than you think. And we had this module because a lot of students believed that they couldn't think of ideas, but it's relatively quite straightforward once you follow this module, and we even give you feedback on your ideas to help you build your idea generating muscle. And also because it's quite quick once you start using the framework, it really is quite surprising. So if you are in a hurry, if you do need to pass the IELTS exam quickly, then you might want to have a look at our online essay checking tool where you get your instant feedback faster than ever thanks to artificial intelligence. And as I said, this just helps you improve faster. You can see your essay, you can resubmit it, you get your feedback, you resubmit it, and you just get in that improvement cycle. And then if you really need to take it to the next level, if you really need to pass fast, then I'd strongly recommend joining the course or even getting the paid essay correction tool. And we're running a special promotion now where you can get the whole of our courses, all of our courses at a ridiculous rate, and you get some free human essay corrections as well. And we're running this promotion during March, so I'd strongly recommend getting on top of that if you need to pass quickly, or even if you've just got your exam coming up in a couple of months and you want to be certain, you don't want to waste any more money, then I think now is a great time to test out our online essay checker. And then once you start with that and you get the paid version, you'll be invited to join our online course with the C2 framework, which will help you a lot. You're also actually at the moment, you're going to get a free course for all paid subscribers. They get a free introductory course on, essay formatting, essay format, essay structure, getting ideas, and, improving your vocabulary. So it's a great time to join. That's it from me today. I wish you a super day and good luck with your IELTS preparation.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.